Okay, this video is about two things. One, you might be able to give me a hand with, and the second one is maintaining the lathe. The first part is I've just got a new microphone and I'm trying it out now. Can you just drop a comment to tell me if the sound is better or worse, or just give me your opinion on it, will you, please? Right, as you could see from the thumbnail at the start of this, I was roughing out bowls, and this video is kind of in answer to a question I was asked in a previous video about how come everything on the lathe moves so easily. It's to do with lathe maintenance. Now, if you're roughing out, you can help yourself a bit. Right, before I started roughing out, I gave everything on the lathe a heavy coat of paste wax and left it there. Right? An awful lot depends on the wood you're using as well, and specifically the tannin content in the wood. I roughed out one bowl that was Spanish chestnut, which is extremely high in tannin, and you can see what it did to the lathe. Right. So what I'm going to go through is how I sort this out. Now, as I said, you can help yourself beforehand. I put a thick coat of paste wax on this before I started. As you can see, things are not moving too much, too well. Right. Now, the thing about tannin is it gets everywhere, right? So I covered everything in the shop, pulled the blinds down over the shelves, everything, to make sure that it couldn't get anywhere. I even put something up over the tools that are hanging there in front of me, to make sure that this stuff wouldn't get anywhere, right? You can see it even got here, right? Now, one way you can help yourself is put something inside, even if you're not using it, because it stops the tannin getting in, right? It saves you having to try and clean out in there, right? Put something into your Morse taper just to stop the tannin getting in there, even if you're not using headstock at all, right? Now, first thing you need to do is get everything off of the lathe. Right, I can't get the headstock off because basically on this lathe it's too flipping heavy, right? But what I do is, before I start doing it, I move the headstock forward slightly to cover the lathe beds, right? So then when I'm cleaning it, I can just slide the headstock back that little bit, and here is clean because it never got in there. It's locked down. So you can, I don't know if you can pick it up on the camera, but you can actually see the line where the headstock was. Right, then take everything off the lathe. Well, everything you can get off the lathe, take it off it. Right, headstock, tailstock, and banjo. Right. Right, so you can get to your beds. Right, now as I said, I gave this a good coat of paste wax before I even started this, but the tannin in that wood is so much, I think it probably ate through the paste wax. The same thing happened the last time I used it. Right, first thing you need to do is to clean the lathe off. Right, I use some methylated spirits or denatured alcohol in the States, right, and a scrubby brush, or a scrubby sponge, should I say. Right. You get whatever you can off first. Right. You just scrub it with the mets, or denatured alcohol, as I said. Right. Now, another thing is I never leave shavings on the lathe at all, be they wet or dry. I will always hoover the lathe off. For those in the States, hoover is a generic term that we use here in Ireland for a vacuum cleaner. So if you're ever over here and somebody's talking about a hoover, they're talking about a vacuum cleaner. Right. Get some kitchen towel. Clean it off. Now, you can see that that has kind of cleaned the beds, and it wouldn't be like that if I hadn't to put the paste wax on it. Right? It would still be filthy, right? Because the tannin would have stained the steel. A little bit of a clean. Off, clean kitchen towel. Putting some paste wax or something on the beds really does help. Right. Now, I would do this anyway, at least once a month. I would clean the lathe down like this. Right. Now, next bit is get yourself some 320 and gently and evenly just give your beds a rub. Now remember, you don't want to use a power sander on this if you're doing this, because you need these beds to stay flat, and you'll see I'm making sure I'm covering the entire bed with the sandpaper. Right. And as I said, you've got to make sure that these stay perfectly flat. Right. And there they are, back to being clean and smooth. Now the next step is get some paste wax. Right. My advice, get the cheapest one you can. You don't want to be using your good paste wax on doing this. You know, your finishing wax, I think. I have an old thing of bry wax that I use for this. Right. Put it on your lathe bed, right, yet again just to protect it, and it actually makes everything slide smoother. Now this time I will not be leaving this on, I will be buffing it off. Right. Now this is where people make the mistake. An awful lot of people make a mistake anyway. They put everything back on and expect it to work perfectly. You've forgotten something. The bottom of your banjo and the bottom of your tailstock is going to be in the same condition. See it? You have to do the exact same thing to the bottom of your banjo and the bottom of your tailstock. Okay, so we're going to do that, right? Also, this bar, right, is going to need it as well, because you can see there where some of the tannin has got through. Right, so do the exact same thing again. I won't be putting this video up at the normal time because, as I said, it's just kind of an extra for the two reasons that I needed to do this anyway, and I thought I'd take it as the opportunity to answer a question. And the new mic arrived yesterday, so I thought I might as well test that as well at the same time. Right. And as I said, don't forget that bar. And this tannin goes everywhere, so give this whole thing a clean. I suppose technically you don't need to clean up here, but it's just, it doesn't hurt. The aesthetics of the lathe, I suppose. Right, and same again. Hit it with some 320. Again, making sure that it's flat. When you're doing it. But yet again, you don't want bits in this. You want it perfectly flat. Now, do not hit the bar with 320, okay? Because you gotta flatten that, you really hold it. Just clean the whole thing off. Clean the bar off. Clean out there. Right, you could finish cleaning up the outside of this when you get it back on the lathe. It'll just make it easier. Right, and again, hit the bottom with paste wax. It will just help with the movement of the banjo. Right. And do the same thing with your tailstock. Right, now, I think you can see that, can you? Yeah, you kind of can. Okay then. Right. The quill. I was using the quill. It was a large piece of Spanish chestnut, so I was using the quill to steady it when I was starting. So the quill has tannin on it as well. Same thing again. Right, now if you can avoid it, try and not sand your quill. Once or twice probably wouldn't be too bad, but continuously doing it, eventually you're going to change the shape of your quill, or you'll make it smaller or something, which would not be good. Now, yet again, I covered the quill with paste wax before I started. To try and protect it. Right. And again, paste wax on the quill. Now you'll be cleaning all this paste wax, well, buffing it, I suppose, before you put the lathe back together. Right. And again, don't forget the bottom, because that's going to be in the same condition as everything else. Now you're not looking for the shine here. You're just looking to get a little coat of paste wax onto what's there. So waiting for it to go off. It's up to you. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. You just grab something and get the paste wax off the beds. Grab your banjo, yet again, clean the paste wax off the bottom. Because if you don't, stuff will stick to the paste wax and everything's going to get really sticky to move again. Not forgetting the bar. Now, right, the place everybody forgets is under here. You also have steel, right? There's a little groove there for your banjo to run in. You have to clean under there as well, because the tannin will have got down there as well. So underneath there, same again. Do the scrubbing. Right off. See what's under it? And whack it how stop I can. You see what moves now? Moves in now perfectly, moves around perfectly. Right, now that your banjo's back on, it's held steady, you can finish it. Right. Take your tool rest off, because the bar of your tool rest is going to have this stuff on it as well. Right, take this completely out. Now, depending on your lathe and what kind of grip you have on it, the Laguna has a slit in it. So get something and clean that slit out. And there's not a lot you can actually do about the inside of this. Right. Baby's bottle brush works on it, but I broke it, so I broke it, and to be honest, I just never thought of getting a new one. Right. Bit of a scrape. Right. I covered absolutely everything in paste wax. Right, but I'm going to do the same thing again. Right. Give it a scrub. Now, you do not want to put paste wax down in there because it will make your banjo really slippy. Just clean it. And then, same here, exact same thing, but don't sand it. Same as everything else, the tolerance on these are tight and you don't want to be messing with them. I said 1 or 2 times won't matter. Like if it gets really bad, maybe sand it. 1 or 2 times don't really matter, but if you do this constantly, eventually you are going to change the diameter of that. Okay, the Laguna sign. Because this doesn't have to be perfectly flat, I'll basically go through the same steps with one difference. I will power sand it because it's just easier. It doesn't take a lot to keep a lathe in good shape. It just takes a little bit of due care and attention. And again, paste wax it. This is just aesthetics on the lathe more than anything else. It's one of those things you don't have to do, it's a nice to do. Some paste wax on there. Right. Give it a couple of minutes. Clean it off. Right. Then stick your handle back in. Put that back in. Check everything is moving perfectly. It is. Look it down. That's that one out of the way. Now you have, get this back over here so you can see. Right. Tailstock. Right. Polish off the paste wax. Everywhere you put it. Right. And back on that goes. There you go, that's moving smoothly again and locks into place. And as you see, the way that came up without sanding it, nice and clean and works perfectly again, no stickiness. Right, so that was a quick one on lathe maintenance. As I said, it's a bit of 2 things going on. I just want to test this new mic and trying to answer a question I was asked. So thanks very much for dropping a comment to tell me how this sound is, and I'll see you on the next one, which will be back to probably I think the next one is, oh yeah, a golden monkey puzzle pen or not. So I'll see you then.